is a balanced diet?
A balanced diet refers to eating a wide variety of foods in the right proportions to deliver balanced macronutrients.
While you certainly can apply the Nutrivore philosophy to a macronutrient manipulation diet, like a low-carb diet or a low-fat diet, the default on Nutrivore is balanced macronutrients. And one easy way to eat a diet that is abundant in nutrients while balancing macronutrient intake is to use the Nutrivore Meal Map.
I won't leave you hanging. The Nutrivore Meal Map simply refers to dividing your plate into quarters, filling 1 quarter with a protein food, 1 quarter with a starchy food, and the remaining half of your plate with a variety of vegetables and fruits.
Let's talk more about why a balanced diet is best and why crafting most of your meals according to the Nutrivore Meal Map can help you achieve that.
Balanced macronutrients refers to a diet whose proportions of protein, carbohydrates, and fats all fall within the accepted macronutrient distribution ranges, the AMDRs. The AMDRs are set by the Food and Nutrition Board of the Institute of Medicine, based on evidence from interventional trials and supported by epidemiological studies that show a role in the prevention or increased risk for chronic diseases.
The AMDRs are additionally set with the goal of sufficient intake of essential nutrients. Sounds a lot like Nutrivore, the goal of getting all of the nutrients our bodies need from the foods we eat.
The accepted macronutrient distribution ranges are 10 to 35% of total calories or energy from protein, 20 to 35% of total calories or energy from fats, but no more than 10% of total calories from saturated fats, and 45 to 65% of total calories or energy from carbohydrates, but no more than 25% calories from sugars.
This is what's referred to as balanced macronutrients, the happy medium for protein, carbs, and fat that a wealth of scientific studies show is best to support our overall health.
In fact, a rigorous 2020 systematic review showed that diets outside of the AMDR ranges for protein, carbohydrates, and fats increase risk for all-cause mortality. And this effect is even greater in the context of diets that are also of higher quality. For example, diets that emphasize vegetables, fruit, legumes, nuts and seeds, whole grains, seafood, and lean meats.
Importantly, there's a lot of wiggle room within these AMDR ranges, which means there's a lot of flexibility in adopting a balanced diet.
For example, if you consume a 2,000 calorie per day diet, you would be consuming balanced macronutrients if you consumed anywhere between 50 and 150 grams of protein, 44 to 78 grams of fat, and 190 to 270 grams of carbohydrates, including at least 28 grams of fiber.
Whether cooking at home or eating out, the easiest way to eat a balanced diet while upping overall nutrient intake is to follow the Nutrivore Meal Map for most of your meals. Mentally, divide your plate into 4 roughly equal quarters. Each quarter of your plate will supply a different collection of vital nutrients, and altogether they will add up to a balanced, nourishing meal.
Fill 1 quarter of your plate with a protein food, 1 quarter of your plate with a starchy food, and the remaining half of your plate with a variety of vegetables and fruits. Cook and dress your foods with healthy fats and season liberally with herbs and spices.
It really is that simple, but let's still look at each section of the Nutrivore Meal Map in more detail.
Let's look at the protein quarter of our plates. 1 to 2 servings of a protein food is sufficient to meet the protein needs for most people. A serving is defined as 3 ounces cooked for meat and seafood, 2 large eggs, 1 cup of broth, 1 cup of milk or yogurt, 1.5 ounces for cheese, a 1/4 cup for tofu, and a 1/2 cup for pulse-type legumes like lentils and chickpeas. And provided you are consuming a variety of different protein foods, this 1 to 2 servings, or a quarter of your plate, is enough to ensure adequate intake of all 9 essential amino acids.
That reminds me of a joke. What's the best looking food? Cheese. It always looks great. I hope that mom joke earned your subscribe.
Let's look at the starchy quarter of our plates. 1 to 2 servings of a starchy food at each meal is adequate to meet the carbohydrate needs of most people while contributing a meaningful amount of fiber to our diets. A serving is defined as 1 cup measured raw for starchy root vegetables and starchy fruit like plantains, and 1 ounce dry and raw for legumes and whole grains. And all of those translate to about half a cup once cooked.
Fill the remaining half of your plate with a variety of vegetables and fruits.
Covering half your plate with vegetables and fruits, and 3/4 of your plate if your starchy food is a vegetable or fruit, at each meal is a simple way to achieve the goal of 5 or more servings of vegetables per day and 2 or 3 servings of fruit per day.
In my video on the top 5 foods to add to your diet, I covered the science showing that optimal vegetable consumption is 5 or more servings per day, and optimal fruit consumption is 2 or 3 servings per day. But briefly, to review,
the preponderance of evidence shows that aiming for 5 servings of vegetables per day or more leads to the greatest risk reduction for health problems. But the data is mixed, and some studies, like a 2014 meta-analysis, show that just 3 servings per day is amazing and can even reduce risk of all-cause mortality by 25%. And remember, we're talking about culinary vegetables, so tomatoes, cucumber, winter squash, they all count.
With vegetables, there's no maximum amount to eat. But with fruit, the sweet spot, pun intended, is 2 or 3 servings per day.
For example, a 2017 meta-analysis showed that consuming between 250 and 300 grams of fruit daily, which is about 2 servings, reduced all-cause mortality risk by about 10% with no additional benefit above that amount. And a 2018 review concluded that 2 or 3 servings of fruit per day was optimal for reducing risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, chronic constipation, and inflammatory bowel disease.
Eating a wide variety of fruits and vegetables is additionally beneficial, including choosing from as many of the fruit and vegetable families as possible.
We'll cover these veggies and fruit families in upcoming videos. But the most important to incorporate into our regular diets from a health perspective are root vegetables, leafy vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, the cabbage family, mushrooms, alliums, the onion family, citrus fruits, and berries.
And it's beneficial to think about eating the rainbow when we're choosing fruits and vegetables. That's because the pigments that give fruits and vegetables their vibrant and distinctive colors are phytonutrients. And each class of phytonutrients has distinctive health benefits.
A huge 2022 umbrella review that included data from 86 studies, 449 health outcomes, and over 37 million study participants concluded that 42% of health outcomes were improved by color-associated pigments, and that those health outcomes that were improved by multiple pigments included body weight, inflammation, lipid profiles, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and total mortality.
In fact, this review shows that color-associated fruit and vegetable variety confers additional health benefits to the population above and beyond just how much fruits and vegetables we eat. Meaning it's both important to eat enough fruits and veggies and mix up what color family they belong to.
There are 5 color families when it comes to vegetables and fruits: red, orange and yellow, green, blue and purple, and white and brown. Each color family gets its distinctive colors from a different collection of phytonutrients, which I can go into more depth on in a future video.
So when filling half of your plate with vegetables and fruit, ideally pick 2 different ones. For example, maybe a quarter of your plate is steamed broccoli, and the other quarter of your plate is roasted beets. It's best to aim to hit all 5 color families of fruits and vegetables throughout the day, with as much variety of fruits and vegetables as possible throughout the week.
Cook and dress your foods in healthy fats like olive oil, avocado oil, soybean oil, canola oil, corn oil, and sunflower seed oil. Alternatively, or additionally, incorporate whole food sources of healthy fats into your meals. Foods like fish and shellfish, olives, avocados, nuts, and seeds. There's a lot of myths out there about vegetable oils, so don't worry, I will dig into all of the science in a future video.
It's totally fine to use butter or other animal fats like bacon drippings for flavor or when cooking methods call for it. But know that studies show that swapping out butter and other sources of highly saturated fats with vegetable oils does improve health outcomes, reducing all-cause mortality, a general indicator of health and longevity, as well as mortality from specific causes like cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, respiratory diseases, and Alzheimer's disease.
Let's answer a couple of frequently asked questions. If you choose a root vegetable as your starchy food, yes, your plate will be 3/4 vegetables and fruits. When you select a whole food plant protein as your protein food, like the classic combination of rice and beans, merge the quarter of your plate that is protein foods with the quarter of your plate that is starchy foods.
Processed plant foods like tofu, tempeh, and seitan, plant-based meats, and plant-based protein powders all only count towards the protein quarter of your plate and not the starch quarter of your plate.
And if you'd like a handy-dandy, downloadable, and printable version of the Nutrivore Meal Map, you can get that as part of the welcome gift of 5 free guides when you sign up for my weekly newsletter.
Using the Nutrivore Meal Map as a visual guide to construct most of your meals will help you eat a balanced, nutrient-dense diet without a lot of additional effort. Add an additional focus on choosing mostly whole foods, eating a wide diversity of different foods, as well as eating the rainbow of fruits and vegetables. And you've got most of your nutrition bases covered.